This is a meeting of the Athens Board of Zoning Appeals. The time is 7 p.m. and the date is March 8, 2016. At this time, I will call the meeting to order. The board consists of 5 members and 2 alternates. The alternates taking full part in the discussions and becoming a voting member in the absence of a member or when a member abstains for conflict of interest. Present tonight are members Ms. Betty Hollow, Ms. Joan Kranansky, Ms. Lisa Carson, and our alternate member, Mr. Ed Baum, will be a voting member tonight. I am John Golsey, the chair. Also present is Mr. Paul Eschenbacher, the secretary. At this time, I invite you to view a pre-recorded video on the rules and procedures of the board.
The Athens Board of Zoning Appeals operates according to the following procedure. The chair will name and describe the case. The zoning administrator or secretary will state the basis of the objection and any applicable facts or conditions pertaining to the case. The appellant or their representative will give reason why the appeal should be viewed favorably. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the request will be heard. Anyone wishing to speak in general comment will be heard. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition will be heard. If necessary, the appellant or their representative will offer concluding, summary, or rebuttal remarks. Testimony from the floor shall be closed. The board will deliberate and render a decision. According to Athens City Code, Section 23.07.03b, the board has power to grant variances from the strict application of the code, provided the variance will not be contrary to the public interest, the spirit of the code is observed, public safety and welfare are secured, and substantial justice is done. According to Athens City Code, Section 23.07.10c, variances from the code shall not be granted unless the board makes specific findings of fact, based directly on the particular evidence presented to it, that the standards and conditions imposed in this title, if applicable, have been met by the applicant. Exceptional circumstances. There are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in question or to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to other properties or classes or uses in the same zone. Practical difficulty and undue hardship. Because of exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions pertaining to a specific piece of property, a literal enforcement of these regulations will result in practical difficulty or undue hardship that is unnecessary to the achievement of public purposes. Preservation of equal property rights. Literal interpretation of these regulations would deprive the appellant of rights commonly enjoyed by others in the same zone and the same vicinity, while a granting of the requested variance will not confer on the applicant any special privilege that is denied to other properties in the same zone and the same vicinity. Minimum variance. The variance granted is the minimum variance required to make possible the reasonable use of the property. Absence of detriment. The authorizing of such variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent property and will not materially impair the purpose of the zoning code or the public interest. Not of a general nature. The condition or situation of the specific piece of property or the intended use of said property for which variance is sought, one or the other, or in combination, is not of so general or recurrent a nature as to make reasonably practicable the formulation of a general regulation for such condition or situation. Any person, resident, or officer, department, or appointed body of the City of Athens, aggrieved by a decision of the Board, may petition the Athens County Court of Common Pleas concerning the illegality of the decision. Such petition must be filed within 30 days after the mailing of the decision of the Board to the applicant.
There are 2 cases on tonight's agenda. Case number 1 is case 16-03V, lot number 1703 at Ring Street. And case number 2 is case 16-04V, the property at 125 East Union Street. The board requires to take testimony under oath. Would anyone wishing to speak concerning any item on the agenda please stand? Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you will present to the board will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Be seated, please. Thank you. Our first case is case number 16-03V, lot number 1703 at Ring Street, and zone is R1, and Mr. Ron White is the appellant. Appellant is requesting a variance from ACC 23-10-01, a schedule of bulk controls, Table A, to allow construction of a building with a rear setback of 7 feet, where 30 feet is the minimum rear setback allowed. Mr. Eschenbacher, would you like to add anything more to what this is?
Well, just a brief overview. The empty lot in question is at the bend of Ring Street there, right below 7 Ring Street. It's unusual for a lot, even in Athens, and it's a narrow triangle, and it's sided on 2 sides by city right-of-way, Ring Street and an undeveloped alley behind it. This property was before the board in 2005. They had asked for a similar variance back then in 2005 for a house with a 1-foot rear setback, unlike today's variance request of 7 feet. It was granted. What happened then was that some attendants to the meeting thought that the neighboring properties had been improperly notified. While that was going on, the appellant in that case in 2005 asked to continue his case. And the board agreed, after reviewing the attendant's complaint, to hear the case again. What happened was that the appellant dropped the case. He did not ask to appear again, and the board never officially reversed its decision. So the official decision at that time in 2005 was that it had been granted. So if you have any questions.
Well, if it is granted, then it won't continue to...
No, you have to act on it within a year.
Right, so it's no longer...
Okay.
And for whatever reason, the appellant at that time dropped out. They didn't do any construction work on the site at all.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Eschenbacher? Okay, Mr. Ron White, would you like to come to the podium?
Yes.
Okay. You did not swear in, did you?
Pardon me?
You didn't swear to tell the truth, right?
No.
Okay, would you tell the truth, nothing the truth, but all the truth?
Yes, I will.
Okay, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the records, please.
Okay, it's Ronald A. White. Address is 4455 Coe Road, Albany.
Okay, you can say whatever you would like to say.
Okay, I'm trying to buy a lot on Ring Street in Athens, build a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It, I think, came before you another time and was granted permission, and I think the second time it wasn't for whatever reason, I don't know. But I've got just kind of a simple drawing that I made on the right back corner. If you want me to approach?
Sure.
It just misses a setback on this back right corner. This is Ring Street right here. We're short, I think, about 11 feet. We can probably cut it back a little bit if I take this porch and move this porch over to this side. But we're short setback requirements right now about 11 feet.
11 feet from back.
11 feet from this corner. Everything else is good.
Okay.
We're flying off the street, off the property line. We just need a little bit on this corner right here.
So that's a little different than the one that we received, correct?
Well, it should be. You see, you're looking at it like this, just like this.
Right. So we were,
It's this corner right here is the closest. The porch, we can push down a little bit.
You
so are
say,
we asking for a rear setback?
Yes,
Yeah.
Right.
right rear.
you say you are 11 feet short, so you are 19 feet right now because we require 30 feet,
Is it 30 feet on the back?
30 in the back, yes.
And you've got 7, is that right? I think that's what you said.
So I don't understand where the 11 comes from.
I thought that, or whatever it was with Lance, South Carolina office, and I thought we'd figure we were 11 feet short.
I think you're more than that.
Let me ask Mr. Reschenbacher, can you clarify this for us, please?
I'm just going by the building permit application that I was given, and it says that it needs,
Right.
the request for a zoning permit is refused in accordance with the application submitted. Request is for minimum rear setback of 7 feet with 30
Right.
feet is
Right.
required.
Right.
Okay.
So you only have 7 feet.
So you're 23 feet less than what the setback should be.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you realize this, not many people in Athens do, but there's a vacant alleyway behind it. There's never been anything done with it. It's been vacant ever
Why is it
since the
vacant? do
inception
you
of
think?
Athens.
Why do you think it's vacant?
Well, it's unbuildable. It's really steep, and it's a
You could maybe go back to the
okay.
podium.
Okay. But it's a very sharp slope. It's unbuildable. It's not even suitable for roadway.
Okay.
Mr. Reschenbacher, I see that you are going from the corner perpendicular to the street, to the alley. So you don't take the average from one end to the other end?
No,
You take
that's on
whatever
the
is
sides.
closest point.
Okay.
Now, on what we received in our packets, it's showing 7 feet from the back of this porch here
I
as a.
think this is the one.
No, I wrote that on there.
Okay.
See, this is where he's
Oh, 'cause
showing
this is the
7 feet.
This is the driveway.
Correct. Right. So,
So it's
that's. I
porch.
don't know. I don't know that. What is?
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is. Right.
What do you mean? It's right there. It's the porch. It's 7 feet.
Right. And he's showing us this as 7 feet. That's my question. Right. So his drawing
I
is.
see. Okay.
See, that's my question.
Two
Right.
drawings of it.
So is this not setting back here any longer?
Well, they're just not much very accurate.
No, they're not very accurate.
Because this is practically 0 feet.
Right.
And this is the place where it would be 7.
Yes. Well, he's showing it directly back here, but you would.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
all right.
whatever.
Yeah,
I mean.
whichever. Not got a note. So 7. Okay.
I think we have someone who can maybe add additional.
Speaking to your question.
Okay, hold on one second. You can come back again, so you may be seated right now. And then you can come back. And
People.
please state your name and your address, please.
My name is Eric Lee, live at 51 Madison Avenue in Athens. Speaking to your question of the alley, it's not actually an alleyway. There's no road, there's no pavement there. It's overgrown, and there's no alleyway there. I don't think the setback will negatively impact anyone's use of the land because there is that alleyway that isn't actually there. And then also behind the property is Job and Family Services, who also is not using that.
Okay. All right, thank you. Mr. White, would you like to add anything more at this time? Okay,
No,
you have a chance to come back. Is there anyone at this point who would like to speak in favor of this request for variance? Is there in favor? Okay, did you swear in?
Yes.
Okay, please come to the podium and state your name and your address, please.
Hi, my name is Allie Rapp-Lee. I live at 51 Madison Avenue also. I think the idea behind us selling this property. Actually, Eric and I own the land at 7 Ring Street, and from which we're separating this parcel for Ron's intended use. And I think the idea is to allow a single-family home to be built on this lot, and hopefully to increase the property value in the area. I'm a real estate broker with the Athens Real Estate Company, if that context wasn't there. And I think that a new home would help the general feel of the neighborhood and increase property value and tax revenue for the city, in fact.
So you're the one that got the variance in 2005, right?
No, we haven't owned the property that long. I think
okay.
It was Ron DeLuca who asked for the variance
Okay.
at that time.
All right. Any questions? Okay, thank you. You may be seated. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this request? Please come to the podium. And state your name and address for the records, please.
My name is Patrick Doherty. I live at 22 Hudson Avenue. I'm actually here for the second case, but I know how difficult it is to develop a non-conforming lot sometimes, and sometimes some variances and things like that need to be taken into consideration because otherwise you wouldn't be able to use the lot, be rendered useless in a lot of situations. So just speaking from a developer's aspect, that sometimes there's a lot of lots that have already been platted that just won't actually work with all the setbacks requirements. So that's all. I'm not extremely familiar with the project at all. So.
All right, thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
Last call for anyone who wants to speak in favor of this variance. Is there anyone who would like to speak in general comment? Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this request? Yes, sir. Please come to the podium and state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is William Dombrowski. I live at 17 Ring Street. I've been a resident there for 49 years, and I'm a little bit familiar with the area. And I have a number of things to discuss about this project, and I think I'll take off where they were talking about that alleyway. That alleyway is very important, and what it's for is for fire purposes. Because if you're familiar with that land there, it sits down the valley. But the fire engines cannot get to the houses on the hill up there. So they come in the back way, which this alley is, in order to service the houses on both sides of that alley, because there's no way to get to them, really. So the alley is very important, and part of it has a concrete retaining wall. The land in question does not have a retaining wall. It's an important thing for safety reasons to have it there. We don't want it collapsing down or falling apart, so it doesn't get much traffic, but that's good. The other major thing has to do with the extreme flooding and amount of water in that area. Most people don't realize it, but this area is a drainage valley. A lot of water drains down through there. And how many of you know where Highland Park is? No? Above Highland Park is Roosevelt. It's the street that goes across the ridge up there. And then you go down to Madison and on down to downtown Athens. That is a big drainage valley there. All that water comes down off those hillsides and it funnels down into Ring Street. And at one time there was a sanitarium built up there. And the sanitarium took some land over, but at one point it was necessary, the city fathers realized that they had to have water supply for that sanitarium and for other things that were going to be built up there. So they built a reservoir up on top of Highland Park there. If you've ever been up there, maybe you've noticed where the basketball courts and that flat area is. That's a reservoir underneath there. It has an overflow. And so you have water coming out of the overflow and water coming down off those hillsides and ridges down into this little Ring Street Valley there. Well, in order, as a safety reason, at one point in time, they decided since they had a reservoir up there, they didn't know how many years ahead that thing might break or crack or they have a problem with it. So they built a dam across the valley there, and that is the north end of Ring Street. That is actually a dam there, across there. And to facilitate the overflow, I brought a couple of pictures to show you. Here. I'll find them. Just a minute. I'll pass these on to you in order, sort of. And I'll tell you what they are. In order to not have that part of North Congress wash away as a dam, there's a tunnel, a relief valve that goes underneath North Congress there. And if you look at the pictures, one of them will show you, this one will show you the beginning of where that relief valve is. And then if you have this one, this gives you some idea of the size that this is. You can walk down there. Theoretically, you can walk down from North Congress to the Hocking River. It's quite a interesting structure that they did all that brick like that at one time. Well, anyway, it keeps going. Excuse me. This tunnel underneath the end of North Congress. It cuts across my property and the next property across the street for me, and then it ends up right in the middle of the property we are talking about where they want to build a house. And
Underneath?
It's underneath. You can walk down through there. It's a big tunnel. And it's very important because without that tunnel, everything would wash away. And the house happens to sit right in the worst place possible on that lot. It sits right where that tunnel takes a bend and goes down towards downtown. So it's right on the curve there. And I can't see where the city or anybody would want to take a chance and have anything happen to that facility there. And the other thing is, any facility built on that spot, which is most of the time wet, is going to act as another dam on top of the ground. And that's going to increase the water in the soil area, in that area. And that is going to lead to a nice little mosquito pond. It's going to saturate the soil so much that there are 4 trees on that property that would probably fall over. And there happen to be, we are a tree city, they say, here in Athens. There are 4 very beautiful 150-foot tall poplar trees right there in that spot. And that would, one way or the other, through the construction or the massive water or things like that, those trees are going to be ruined in the future if there is a construction of some site at that point. Now, there is a basin there that takes some of the water away on top, but you still have this big tunnel that's taking all this tremendous supply of water down through there. Now, there's another example here of what happens, and I'll show you this. This photograph is right adjacent to where that tunnel starts. And it's our neighbors across the street there. They really live at the end of North Congress. And several times they've had their driveway washed out because of all the water coming down from Roosevelt, Madison, and all those places down through there. Excuse me. So the city finally had to put some tunnels in that place and relief basins on up in the valley to get the water from keeping so much water coming down in there, because it was just washing everything away. And if that tunnel ever gets blocked, that water is going to rise very quickly and just wash out the valley down through there. The same thing with the tunnel at the curve where they want to build this house. If anything happens to that tunnel in any place, particularly that curve, if it gets blocked up, there's going to be a massive water buildup there and flooding, and it's going to wash things away. Now, I've seen that happen up to a point. Excuse me. The surface basins in that area can get clogged up. Leaves, debris, snow, ice, that kind of stuff. And if you get a spring rain or a real hard summer storm like we do get, the water will rise up, and I've seen it flow across where that Spanish house is next to it, and actually completely filled the landscape there with water. It was just rushing like a big river down through there until it gets down to Pine Place. And then Pine Place is like a waterfalls there, comes down over and picks up that tunnel that we're talking about. And that tunnel takes that water on down the valley between Mound and North Congress, all the way down to Carpenter Street or whatever it is down there. And then it makes a big left turn and goes down through the city and all the way down to the Hocking River. Now, when it gets down to that point, you can drive a car through it. It's so big down in that area. But it looks like it's an innocent place, and it's really very important. And I'd like to point out another thing, as long as we're on this subject, that the drawings we got and the drawings most people go by are not realistic. The way these drawings are made up, if you were to actually build a house that way, this little corner that you see in there is the front yard for these houses, this house here. And if you take away that corner, you take away those people's front yard. It doesn't make sense to have a house without a front yard, particularly in a residential area like that.
Okay, I'm not understanding that. Could you come and show us what you mean there? Okay.
These two here represent the existing farmhouse.
Okay.
And this is the alleyway they're talking
Okay.
about. And this is where they
Okay, here's
want
the
to build
street.
in here. And this is a triangle
Yes, I know.
that really is the front yard to this house here.
This house is located approximately right here, and there's a small slope, and there's a big utility pole there,
Yeah.
and so this would like cut off the front yard for whatever reason that house was built to the front of the lot. But I'm assuming that they assumed that this would all be one piece at one time, and so
It was one piece at one time.
Okay, so this was attached to this?
Yes.
so what you
Across
can
the street? How could that be?
it's not a street. This is
Oh,
the
that's
alley.
the
This is all
alleyway.
grassy.
Okay,
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This is
Gonna
the
go.
street.
So the
Right.
house is actually sitting this way, and then this is their front yard. It would be gone, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
wouldn't be-
it is
it
a
would belong
separate
to the other
lot.
people.
Yeah, it
They
would
would
be-
have no front yard.
But
Right.
the temptation would be to remove the vegetation, do you think? Was it just too steep to matter?
Move what? You
not
couldn't move the
these
house
days.
back?
No,
further.
not the
Okay.
house. If this is the alleyway and it's steep and full of vegetation, would there be
No.
any temptation to remove that vegetation if this is...
Well, the city is responsible for this.
Okay, they
Yeah.
can't do it. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
City's
They get
responsible for
permission
that.
to mow it and take care of it and so
Okay,
forth.
all right.
And it
Yeah,
could
the-
be landscaped. And
Okay.
what the part they use is this part down here. They
That's
use
the
that
flat
for
part of
gardening.
their front yard
Right,
as of right
And they
now.
play horseshoes over here and things like that.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Are there any more?
I think I've covered the basics.
Okay.
If you had, I have 36 more pages. I don't think you want to go through that. So why don't I stop here and let you carry on with the other questions?
Okay. We just received a letter. I haven't read it, but I guess a couple of board members. Is that also from you? Is that from him?
He signed it.
No, I believe she's here.
Several people signed it.
Okay.
I have not seen
So why don't we let them speak and then
Yeah.
read it if they're not
Would
here.
you be? Would somebody would read that letter for us?
But the person who wrote it is
Yeah.
here, I believe.
Okay. Okay. Would you like to come to the podium and read or summarize your letter, please?
Sure, I'm not sworn in,
Okay.
but I'll do that.
Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth? The whole truth and nothing but the truth.
My name is Karen McElhaney. I live at 11 Ring Street. I've been there too long, more than a quarter century, let's say. Here's my letter, which a number of my neighbors and friends have signed. Herein find a plea offered by Ring Street neighbors and friends that the board affirm refusal of variance for Ring Street Lot 1703. In support of this position, allow us, if you will, to provide a bit of interesting but not too lengthy narrative. To begin, please note that in recent years we have come to you regarding a proposed structure for this very space. Indeed, we believe this a settled matter, that the lot is unbuildable for the reasons that Mr. Dombrowski has just laid out. This feels like Groundhog Day to me, except 10 years later. The arguments that we presented against the prior request were just those that we have flooding, that we have almost a whitewater course down Ring Street in the event of a heavy rains, and that this little piece of Ring Street is a designed area to take away water. Okay, we'll go on. The proposed construction area is a designed environment in two respects. It comprises a part of original landscape architecture relating to the Adobe-style ranch at 3 Ring. Secondly, it contains a swale into which several large watersheds send runoff, the Roosevelt Avenue watershed being one of these. The proposed structure will produce irreversible adverse effects. 4 of our graceful old friends, the shade trees, will sicken or be destroyed. All remnants of aesthetic appeal will be obliterated. Already the large daylily garden bordering the swale has been mowed to extinction by a succession of landlords and their contracted services. Habitat and resting area for wild creatures, play area for domestic creatures and children will be disrupted. Current wild creature features are there to appreciate. We have a family of red-tailed hawks, we have a wild turkey hen, we have a couple of fawn deer twins, and we have some of the Fairview Avenue turkey vultures coming on down to expand their territory. The structure will act as a dam against watershed inflow to the swale. Even with unobstructed flow in a properly functioning swale, the proposed construction area in times of heavy or extended rainfall becomes entirely flooded, an entirely flooded marsh. Water backflowing into Ring Street and onto 3 Ring property. In times of torrential rains, no longer infrequent, Ring Street resembles rapidly flowing small river, flooding all the way across to 191 North Congress backyard and well into their property. Most remarkably, the proposed structure will sit atop a large underground drainage system conveying captured water from Congress Street to Ring Street to Pine Place and downward toward the town center. The addendum is opinion. Although uses of the proposed structure are not discernible from only a schematic drawing, the tiny box-like outline implies a structure less consistent with private or family housing than with rental housing. The rental history of 7 Ring Street, of which Lot 1703 is part, is horrific. And the simple thought of yet another rental unit is, to say the least, intolerable. We are a neighborhood in recovery from years of depredation by landlords, and we now have families with young children, pets, and kitchen gardens returning. We perhaps for a time will have a civilized level of existence in that neighborhood. Only a structure of exceptional design quality might reasonably expect such an exceptional code variance. The proposed implied box would seem not to qualify. We do understand the right of disposition of property. We simply do not believe every square centimeter of space must be made to produce a payday. Here is the place in which the code book meets the life of neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for her? Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition? Please come to the podium. State your name and address, please.
My name is Adam Remnant. I live at 3 Ring Street. I guess I just add that, and Karen kind of touched on it, that at 3 Ring Street we've had several instances of water sewage backups at our house. And I think part of it is the water system down there floods into the sewage system during heavy rains and results in us calling the sewage office at least a couple times a year. I can hear the water rushing up our pipes, and we'll call to prevent them. And they know us by now. Like, they come down there and they know where the clogs happen and things like that. And they, so there's been multiple occasions. And I'd hate to see another property on there just adding more water to the system and causing further complications in the future. In addition, I just think that was something that wasn't specifically hit on in the other presentations. But yeah, it's been a pretty bad problem for us. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition?
Good evening. My name's Lauren Menti. I am a nurse. Never mind that. Sorry, I've been working all day. I'm an autopilot. I live on 191 North Congress Street, which is actually directly across the street from the proposed lot. Can I show you on the map?
Sure.
That is, yes. So this is where my house is, and I have 3 lots right here.
Okay.
So,
North Congress is here.
did everybody see where that was?
Yeah.
So, again, to add what my other neighbors have shared, I do also have some concerns with this variance. Number one, speaking of property values, I do not know the statistics, but to say that building another student rental lot would increase property values, I do have some concerns about the trueness of that fact. And I know that personally we have called multiple times about the rental that is right next door, having to call police about noise complaints, alcohol complaints, and other student-related issues, trash complaints as well. So adding another rental to the area may not necessarily increase property values. We were not owners at the time of the previous variance, so we've been in the house for about 10 years. So we were not involved when that decision was made. We've been in the house for about 10 years, grown our family there. So to speak about the flooding issue, it has been a very big issue. That's our house, so we get a lot of flooding in that backyard. Since they redid the drainage in front of our house this summer.
No, they redid the road. I'm sorry, I'll speak.
This summer, we now have flooding in both the front yard, which has actually cracked our front walkway, and now the drainage and flooding in our backyard is even worse. So I believe that lot sits over a 16-inch drainage pipe. I'm not sure. But placing a house over that lot might cause additional issues, and that's one of my main concerns. Ethically, property values aside, the current owners told us that they were going to move in and raise a family there. So I do feel like we were not truthfully told what the property was going to be used for. That was not truthfully what happened. The current owners lived there for a few months or shortly, maybe a year, I'm not sure, and then just turned it into another rental. So that's unfortunate. Again, the cops have been called multiple times to that location. And again, just speaking to the variance, this is not a variance. It's asking for a few feet difference. It's asking for 7 feet on a 30 feet, which is proposed in the law. So I urge you, please, not to grant this variance for all of the reasons that we've presented here today. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Sir, do you want to?
Okay. Can you go there?
Sure.
Jeff Menti, I live at 191 North Congress Street. It's basically the way they've aligned the when they did the last blacktop, which has caused more water to come down our way. Whether that be for whatnot, I can tell you that yes, we have our foundation has cracked since owning the property itself. I believe that it's partially. I mean, the hill is coming into our house. Like, we live in one of those fortunate places where you have 3 tiers of land that you mow, so you're mowing like this sideways because you can't get a riding lawnmower into it. The hill is rolling into our house. It's coming down our house, which is evident with water, and basically what Bill stated with water and whatnot, like being it's a drainage alleyway or canal or anything to that effect. I know in the last 2 years, during whether it be the hot muggy nights and the torrential downpours, we've had some excessive flooding in the back part of our house, which borders our property with our new neighbors. It's not getting better. I can tell you that. And do you have something? I'm sorry. It's not getting better, and it's impacting things in a negative way. And that's it. We're also entrepreneurs and hope for the best for everybody. It's just that, if everyone agreed with everything that, we're with, things would be better. So,
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think everyone has spoken, right? Oh, more? If you could maybe add something new and not to repeat what has been said, you may come to the podium and state your case.
Maybe I'll just speak
sure.
briefly. So my name is Gordon Stewart. I live at 187 North Congress Street, which is right next to Jeff's property. And I just want to say I support the other neighbors who've spoken in opposition of this variance. And I don't have anything new to add in terms of the facts or anything like that. I just want to say I'm opposed to the variance because I think that it's likely that it may be a new rental property that's developed there, and I don't think that is in keeping with the nature of the neighborhood currently.
I'd like to ask you one question.
Sure.
I'm trying to determine how many lots. Cementi said they have 3 lots. I think McHaney has 2. How many lots do you have? I know that's
2 lots.
2 lots.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe because of the terrain of the area, people tend to have more than 1 lot. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
I didn't swear in.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth,
I do.
and the whole truth?
Yes.
Okay.
My name's Jenny Daniels. I live in 3 Pine, which is 2 properties down from the proposed lot. We moved there 2.5 years ago, and I just wanted to add one of the reasons that we moved to the area was because of the spacious lots, and it is quite unusual in that regard. I believe that this law is there to make sure that the properties are adequately spaced, which is definitely in keeping with the neighborhood. So I just like to object that I don't think that it's going to increase the value of the properties in the neighborhood. I'd also just like to testify that in heavy rain, you do really hear water pouring through that drainage underneath the road. And I think the space allows the area to breathe. It's not unusual to see deer sleeping on that plot. And there is a heavy deer population in the area that will be affected by this.
Okay, thank you.
Jenny, could I ask you how many lots do you have?
We have 3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the last call for anyone who would like to speak in opposition. Okay, Mr. Wright, now you have a chance to respond to all of these people.
Well, I guess I don't know how to respond. I wasn't aware of all the information that they have. I guess if it proceeded further, I'd probably ask the city to look at that with me and see what they think as far as the water situation, because I don't want that either. I don't want what they're going through, and I'll trust your judgment to make the best call, and I'll accept it.
So you are not withdrawing your request, right?
No, I'm not going to withdraw. If you tell me it's a no, then I'll understand.
Yeah, okay. I was going to actually ask the board members if you feel we have all the information we need.
I don't. Obviously, there are some engineering questions that have arisen, which I was not familiar with. And I think I would be more comfortable if I had some engineering study which showed the impact of a house on top of that drainage area and adding to the water flow. This is something that I was completely unaware of, and obviously you were. And without that information, I would be hard-pressed to approve construction of a house.
That's the way I feel also. And
well, I guess I have a piece of information that I pulled out of the old file from 2005 when I went down to the code office today. And what it shows, and it could be, this could be just rumor, but it shows exactly where that drain, and this is one of the former code directors, Steve Pearson, did this. This was after the case was heard in May, and then in June they decided that they would rehear it based on the fact that all of the adjoining properties were not consulted. And so this was then in July when I believe the owner at the time, Mr. DeLuca, was bringing the case forward. And that's when they discovered that all of this drainage was down there. And so this was initialed by the code director. And this is where that drainage ditch, and you can pass it around if you want. I guess I could have had a bunch of copies in the files, so I'm assuming they were preparing for another case. But then he never brought it forward again. So,
right. But frankly, Mr. White,
yes,
I'm surprised that now that you hear about this water problem, that you could continue to think that this is an advantageous place for you to build a house.
I'm not sure it's advantageous typically.
Yeah.
And I'm in the construction business, have been for 35 years. Most of what I hear is somewhere between exaggerated and heavily exaggerated. I'd have to see, it's kind of like a divorce. It's his story, her story, and the real story. And we're going to get that from the people in the city. Okay. Now, granted, I'm sure it's a problem to a degree. And it sounds like it's the rental that's, the most troubling. I understand that. But
yeah. Would you like to look at this thing that actually shows the drainage under the property?
Sure.
This is the drainage under the property.
Yes, in fact, I think I got one of these copies from the city.
Okay, then give that one back to us.
Okay.
Okay, then.
It shows it's not directly under the house. It's off.
No, it goes right through the front yard.
Yes.
Well, if you put
yard.
the house adjacent to the, okay, let's see, this is the alleyway, this is Pine Street, and if you put it there,
where's the house?
What do we got? There it is, right there. It's going to go right underneath the house. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's at from the street on, that would be the south side. Mm-hmm. It would be 40.
Still need a professional.
It's hard to say exactly how many feet.
Well,
So
this is 40 to here.
right, that's 40 to there. So you want to try and, if they're both about the same size, well, right off your front porch,
But
maybe.
quite apart from the drainage ditch, it does sound as if you're going to have rushing water
This is the drain
coming down on the house
Right.
into the lot,
Excuse me,
being,
one at a time, please. Go ahead.
being perhaps diverted around the house out into the street. Doesn't
You know,
sound like
I
that.
wonder whether it was that severe.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Mr. Dombrowski brought this up, and when I went and looked at it, I saw this, right? Your stakes are all posted where the outline of the house would be, and right in the middle is this green stake, and I believe the city put that there in 2005 to identify the storm sewer. So
Is it still
there's
there?
the house
Still there?
stake. Yeah, it's still there.
Okay.
I saw it when I was there the other day. Right,
I
that's
think
where
they
the
just
curve is.
recently surveyed that. No, I know one of the guys at Care Office did, and it actually sits in the front yard. I don't know what it shows, but it actually would not sit into the house. I do know that.
It would seem, though, that there's some information that is needed
Sure.
before at least I could go forward with it. And
I understand.
I agree.
there's a whole bunch of questions which have been raised by the residents in the area who are familiar with the drainage and some other problems that exist.
Do we have a motion to table this case?
This one's mine.
Yeah, that is not, oh, no, that wasn't here.
Would that assume that the appellant would go forward to get some kind of an opinion to present to us about?
Either that, or maybe we could find from the city ourselves, or
Well, I think it would be up to the appellant if they want to present the case.
Yeah.
I mean, we can.
we could verify.
They could always bring back another case.
Right.
We don't have to table it at this point.
Well,
It
we could
is
just continue
unusual,
this
but
case.
I think you may want to rebuttal on behalf of the appellant.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Since I'm the current owner,
Okay.
I'd like to speak. There are some factual errors I'd like to correct.
Sure.
First off, there isn't a retaining wall in where what we're calling the alley is. What we're calling the alley is not an alley. It's not passable. There's no way that a fire truck could ever get in there. You couldn't get in there with a four-wheel drive Jeep. It's not passable. I can pull up the Google map and you can see that it's totally impassable. In his plans, he's already addressed the storm sewer issue.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. In his plans, he's already addressed the storm sewer issue. It doesn't go right into the house. In our experience, I'm sorry if you felt that we abandoned you. We lived there for 3 years, and we happened to find a better house to live in. Our intention was to stay there and raise a family. Our
Can you
plans
address
changed.
us?
I'm sorry. Our plans we did initially plan on staying there and raising children, but our plans have changed.
That's really not an issue here.
I just felt a little bit under attack from our neighbor, unfortunately. But I feel like most of the objections raised aren't with the setback. Most of the objections raised are with the building itself. I don't think that the setback variance cuts into any space that is currently being used or will impact the space or even the alley that is there, whether or not you can make it with a fire truck or a four-wheel drive Jeep. I don't think that the variation is going to negatively impact any of that.
Okay, thank you.
I guess what it seems to me is that because of the lay of land over there, everyone has several lots just because of the way the land lays, and it's necessary to have a decent piece of property to build a structure on. You really need several pieces of land.
My second question for the board is that can this piece of property be developed or utilized in any way without a variance because of the size and the shape? So is this never going to be built without the variance?
There are unbuildable lots. They exist, and this may be one of them, partially because of the flooding and the part that this lot plays in the flooding, or trying to divert the flooding or absorb some of the flooding.
Right, in terms of how the drainage system was laid out in the city when it was laid out, and in some ways, they take creeks and they built culverts underground to move it, And to a certain extent that's successful, but not always, because especially when you have a lot of slope and hillside.
Well, clearly this tunnel under there is doing some work. That does not keep water from just pouring down on the surface.
Well, I would like to say I live on Mount Street, and there's 2 properties on Mount Street that totally low backyards, similar to this, and it's in that whole system. We have that brick tunnel, and that water literally shoots up the storm sewer. And I suppose in the last year, it's the one 3 times they actually had to go dig in that yard and replace it. In my backyard, down in the ravine, becomes a swamp. It fills up with water. You can't even walk back there.
Well, so what do you all propose that
Well,
would be a good idea?
I would like to say that we've been told a lot of this is pretty speculative or anecdotal about talking about properties where there's a lot of water and so on. I'm sure that is the case, but we have not. It hasn't been shown to us definitively that building on this property is going to exacerbate the problem or not exacerbate the problem. So we're not really in a position, in my opinion, to make a judgment on that.
Okay.
A lot of other issues were raised that are not really relevant to. I mean, it's some of the neighbors clearly have an affection for the property and they like the wildlife that's there, but of course they don't own the property. So
absolutely,
the owner of the property is the one who decides whether the wildlife will be able to nest there or not. And if people want it to be a wildlife refuge, they could consider buying it. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but or even being anxious about the possibility of a rental. That too is not really our issue. It's not really for us to consider that when it comes up, when a variance request comes up of this type. But I would say that I don't feel qualified to make any judgment on whether construction on the property is going to affect the flooding or so.
So would you like to table?
I would certainly like not to have to consider something that I don't really understand.
Would you like to make a motion on that regard?
Well, is that the best thing, table?
Well, I think we have to hear from somebody that they will present information at a later date that will clarify
Public
this
Works,
for us.
I think Public Works.
So can the city do something to find out more, to let us know more specifically?
Yeah, I think we would.
Could you make sure the sewage department is contacted?
Okay.
Ask them about the 3 Ring Street issues.
Yeah,
that would be Public Works. Public Works does storm sewer and sanitary sewer. And so it would be important for them to talk about, and
they'll know the address and the property.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
So how about a motion?
Move to table.
I moved that we table this.
Second.
All in favor of the table in this case, raise your hand. We got 5-0. This will be scheduled again for in the future, if not next month, maybe sometimes when we have all the information. And meanwhile, we can maybe provide any information regarding the engineering part, or possibly maybe moving that drainage, or if it's possible. And then we get some information from the city, and then we'll see you again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to case number 2. We'd like to give maybe a minute or so when people are clearing up.
Is anyone driving up the hill?
Okay, case number 16-04B. The property is at 125 East Union Street, and zone is R3. Mr. Patrick Doherty, appellant is requesting a variance from ACC 230801A to allow a parking lot for a proposed apartment building to have 15 parking spaces, with 4 spaces being 170 square feet in area where the minimum parking space area allowed is 180 square feet. And this is a continuation of the case we had last year. It's a different proposal. It's not the same.
Yes. It's a different proposal. That's why he's back 1 month later.
Right. Okay. There's some noise out there. I had this question, Mr. Eschenbacher. When you say 100 square feet, are you talking about any combination of width, length?
No, the other requirement for a parking space besides 180 square feet, it has to be at least 9 feet wide.
9 feet wide, okay.
So I guess one of my questions is on at the apartment complex behind the OUN. We made an exception on space, lot space, parking lot spaces.
Talking about Summit at Coates Run?
Right, exactly. Is this the same alteration that do you know?
No, I don't know. I can't remember why they asked for smaller spaces. I think some of that had to do with...
Well, they did because the hillside fell down, and so
slipped.
they didn't have enough room, so then we granted them the option to have smaller spaces so they would have sufficient number of spaces because cars are smaller.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if code has a set standard, if that was the standard that was used to determine this. Did he speak with you about this?
Mr. Dougherty? I'm sure he did.
Okay.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, what I'm trying to get at is when we had that case at the Summit of Coates Run, we determined that because of the smaller size of cars, it was practical to allow for a smaller parking place.
Okay.
And so all I'm asking is when that was determined, we had a lot of discussion about what size is necessary. And so I'm just trying to find out if this is the same space that was allotted in the variance for Summit of Coates Run.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Widths. It actually has more square footage.
I don't know what
Are you saying the same as at Coates Run?
Yeah, I used the same widths that they used in their variance.
Okay.
I looked at that.
Thank you. Yeah, that was good. I think that was, okay.
And
So
you
we're
may
kind of
come to the
staying-
podium right
staying
now
on that.
and state your name again and your address and your case.
Again, Patrick Doherty, 22 Hudson. I've submitted a narrative to you guys. I'm going to kind of read it again here. I'm going to try and read it a little fast because I hear that you guys have pretty much read through it all. Wanted to thank you for hearing my case last month, giving me compliments as well as suggestions for a way to come up with my goals for this project. And I'm very appreciative of the ideas and recommendations you had when we were brainstorming ways to balance parking and green space. I obviously was not thinking outside the box enough for the parking. But to refresh your memories, I'm looking to construct a 6-unit apartment building at 125 East Union. Going to have 15 bedrooms, and I now got 15 of the parking spots on site. 4 of those spots, though, are only 8.5 feet in width, with 172 square foot in area. I think that was a typo on the denial because they're actually a little bit longer than 20 feet, which is how I was able to get a little extra square footage area. So each of these spots going to be about 5% narrower and about 4% less area than the minimums that are stated in the code. Undue hardship is more payment than needed. We all agreed at the last meeting that, in general, fewer members of the younger generations have cars, and that the newer vehicles they usually drive are getting much smaller. So requiring all parking spots to conform to those old standards was a little impractical and perpetuating the problem we have with more pavement and parking than needed, especially with larger housing complexes and retail stores. My exceptional circumstances are this is a non-conforming lot, and these suggestions came straight from the meeting we had last month to use grass pavers and compact parking to find acceptable solutions to the community and board. Not going to confer any special privilege as there's an abundant amount of parking spaces around town. There's old and new that enjoy the use of smaller areas, widths, and depths. Notable example is the city spots on Court Street that are only about 7 foot wide with 154 square foot. in area, which is 22% narrower and 15% less than the required minimum. So the city recognized that these minimums weren't necessary for the spots that they have, and the people using those spots actually have to battle a busy street too with those smaller spots. So I feel the city's already kind of leading by example by making many of their own spots 22% narrower and 15% less area, which is smaller than what I'm proposing. I believe this would be the minimum variance because I got all the parking on the site, and these are sizes used all around town. I'm only asking that 4 of these spaces have a variance for this project, which represents about a quarter of my total parking, and I'm only expecting a historical demand of about 75%, so really I'm asking to narrow up the amount of spots I'll likely use for overflow and guest parking. Now, I certainly could move a couple of those lines a little closer so that only 2 of these spots, they would each be 8 foot then with 162 square foot in area. However, I felt that spreading it across 4 had less of an impact, and it was similar to one that was already used earlier. So for those reasons, I believe it would be the minimum variance. It's not going to be a detriment to adjacent properties because the project is exactly like many buildings around it. The neighborhood is a higher density student housing area and is poised to be that way for a while. The university is increasing enrollment, so projects like this, they provide the housing options necessary to keep the student population closer to campus after moving out of the dorms. So the more opportunities we have to put the students closer to campus, the more we see owner-occupied housing conversions of rentals in our neighborhoods, like at North Congress and Ring Street, which we just heard about. So my situation is not so general because there's not many people looking to build an apartment building that shares a property line with Ohio University. In the future, though, I do speculate some of our local parking requirements are going to be updated to reflect better the current needs and uses. Because locally, I do believe we're in a paradigm shift in thinking about parking and transportation. And we're looking at other cities, countries, and figure out how to best implement those to avoid any mistakes that they've encountered. So in conclusion, I think it's be good for the city, supported by most of the community. In addition to the community members that already voiced support for my project last month, I had a couple more that submitted some letters. Safety and traffic going to improve on that street because of the new sidewalk and the new lights. City's already leading by example, currently using spots that are 3 times smaller than the changes that I'm requesting. Finally, I've used the recommendations from the last meeting that we had here, put them in my plans, and by embracing those suggestions from that discussion, I got all the parking on the site, and only 4 of them need the variance. So, thanks for your time. Any questions?
Any questions? No?
Just a quick question. So in meeting the 15 parking spot code requirement, did you use up an appreciable? Did you have an appreciable increase in taking up green space?
I used grass pavers. I had to.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
Are the grass papers just for these 4 spots or all over?
I've got drawings here. I thought you guys had copies that I submitted when I sent in my application.
Not this document.
They take a certain amount of the parking area around the edges. Can you see that checkered pattern? And it's just in the back there.
So those are the grass pavers.
Those are this is the area of grass pavers.
Okay. So they're incorporated into the parking spaces, not the full. Okay.
Exactly, just the extremes of them.
Okay. So where are the 4 reduced
1,
spots?
2,
3, 4. Okay. And then this is this Union Street here? I'm trying to.
The street is right here.
Yeah, that's Union Street there.
Yeah,
okay.
and this is the university's parking right here.
Right. Correct.
And they actually got a little bit back here, a little bit of land there too.
Okay.
A smaller wedge.
Yeah.
I can leave these.
Thank you.
No, I think we've done.
No, you can take it. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
That's pretty much all I have. I mean, I was here last month, so you guys.
You did a great job.
Probably sick of me. So.
No, I guess I would like to comment. I think that in your statement, maybe it was in your written statement, although I breezed through it quickly because I wasn't too concerned about what you were presenting. I think we still need to maintain the required number of parking spaces as the code recommends for the near future. But we need to make some modifications, and I think what you've done is a good way to start making those modifications because, unfortunately, many people come here still very addicted to their cars. And even though some semesters they may not bring their car, second half of spring semester, that car is probably going to show up because they're going to think about going places.
There are definitely instances where, yes, that is
right,
correct.
So this kind of is a nice way to segue us from those kinds of restrictions that some people feel are a burden and what you're doing. So I appreciate what you did. I'm glad you brought it back.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice way to compromise, too. So thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You may be seated. Anyone would like to speak in favor of this request?
I will.
You're having fun in there, don't you?
Yeah. Eric Lee, 51 Madison Avenue.
Okay.
All the things that he said seem very reasonable. One of my big pet peeves is parking spots that are too small, but 4 or 5%. I don't think I would notice it as just a normal person.
Good deal. Good deal. Thanks. We don't have anyone who wants to speak in opposition or general comments. We had 2 letters in here. One is from Mr. Bo Goodrich, and is in favor of this variance, and the other letter is from Mr. Aaron Bickle, the owner of Bickle Insurance Services. And I'm not going to read it, but they are basically in support. So we close the discussion from the floor and entertain any discussion or if you want a motion.
I move that we grant a variance from Athens City Code 230801A to allow a parking lot for a proposed apartment building to have 15 parking spaces, with 4 spaces being 170 square feet in area, where the minimum parking space area allowed is 180 square feet.
Second.
Okay. Exceptional circumstances.
Well, it's a triangular lot, an odd lot, and we need to get all the spaces in there, and in order to maintain the amount of green space, I think that that they were able to accomplish that, so they maintained. I lost my train of thought.
I agree. And that also addresses the second one, the practical difficulty and undue hardship because of the same reason, right?
Correct.
Preservation of equal property rights. Again, I think the variance is very minimal.
Right, we're maintaining the same number of spaces and everyone else has required spaces, so yeah.
And that also answers the next one, which is the minimum variance. It is absence of detriment.
Yep.
There is no, and none or not of a general nature, and I think he answered that question for us. Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Let's get a good shot of everyone on the board. All in favor of this variance, please raise your hand. You have the variance 5-0. And the last item on the agenda is disposition of the minutes from February 9, 2016 meeting. Did you all read the minutes? I read it. They seem to be okay with me. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Well, that's why I said what I said
Okay.
about
All in favor of approving the minutes of last month? Okay.
Because
and do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay, so be it. So
that's not
so we
necessarily.
adjourn. Second.
I would note